British authorities are searching for three teenage girls believed to be heading to Syria to join ISIS. Police say they took a flight to Istanbul, Turkey from London's Gatwick Airport on Tuesday. Officials are trying to reach the girls through Turkish media, saying their priority is to get the girls home safely. Two of the girls are 15 and the other is 16. British Prime Minister David Cameron is calling on schools and communities to help counter the lure of ISIS. Now, for more on this, Mohammed Abdul Barry joins us from London. He is a trustee and former chairman of the East London Mosque and has spent decades serving East London's diverse communities. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Most welcome.
Now, you're a behavioural psychologist as well, so if you could please just explain to us how these young people, the boys and the girls who've grown up in the West, are being lured to the war zone in Syria.
There could be a lot of pictures. These boys and girls are highly intelligent, they are proactive, probably they're a bit of adventurous. But the problem is that these young girls and boys are normally not that knowledgeable about Islam, about the world reality, about the world surrounding them. So they live probably in a very utopian world. They are impressionable. And the problem is many of them may have got some disconnect with their own families. The reason I'm saying this, I have dealt with a lot of children. When they become adolescent, they go to high school or secondary schools, they enter into the wider world. Many of the first generation parents, not only Muslims, but also other minority groups, they cannot relate to their own children at home even. There is a cultural gap, there is also generational gap. So all these things can be compounded, and the allure of something probably bigger or idealistic or something they crave for probably is too much for them.
And now, in regards to these three young UK schoolgirls, the pictures we're seeing, they're not dressed in traditional Muslim clothing. They've got tight pants on, at least one doesn't have a head covering. What are authorities there saying about why they believe these girls are travelling to join ISIS fighters?
Well, because they haven't left any clue to their family members, their parents and the schools, and nobody knows whether they talk to anyone physically or whether they were radicalized through the online, which is a big issue in England. So it is a real worry for the family, whether they will end up in Turkey or whether they will go to Syria. But as a father, I can feel what is going into their into the minds of their parents. And our most important request to them, if they hear about this, please do come back, because at the end of the day, they may end up, if they go to Syria, they may end up in a situation where their life could be threatened or their life could be other way very, very distorted.
And can you tell us, what are you doing, or the Muslim community in general, doing to help prevent young people from being lured towards Syria and ISIS?
Well, the community has been doing according to its ability, especially the mosques. Many of the mosques give Friday sermon, they talk to the people, but the problem is there is a constraint of resources in the Muslim community. Many of the mosques don't have resources to have permanent imam or permanent staff, and they close after the prayer times, and all these things make it difficult. And also many of the first generation parents, as I mentioned, have difficulties in relating with their own children when they grow up. And also the other fact is our government has got a prevent agenda, and the pillar of this prevent agenda is the non-violent extremism ending up in terrorism. That means it's a conveyor belt theory, which is not evidence-based, but unfortunately our government has taken this as a pillar of the policy. And these girls' flight from their own secured home to Turkey proves that this conveyor belt theory doesn't have any evidence. They were not radicalized as the way it was thought, and they suddenly disappeared.
All right, Mohammed Abdul Barry, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Most welcome. Thank you very much.
Now, the IDS returns in just a moment. Up next, a top film critic and awards pundit gives us his predictions for who will take home the golden statues at the Oscars on Sunday. See how your predictions line up.